I'll just start. So I'm Hen Perez. I'm field CTO at Wiz. I'm also the developer of the Wiz MCP that we launched just a few months ago. And I'll just start with the agenda for today is basically first to explain to you the problem that we saw with partners building integration on Wiz. Like the whole process takes too much time. And also now with like the new introduction of AI, that every developer has an AI agent, we saw the opportunity to actually bring more innovative abilities into the way that they actually build integrations. I'll start with explaining all of that. We're going to jump into a live demo of Wiz MCP and Apollo MCP. And it's a live demo with an AI agent, so it's probably going to break, hallucinate, all of that. So I need you all to be with me so we can power through. And then we're going to jump to Q&A. So just a little bit about Wiz. For those of you who are not familiar, Wiz is a cybersecurity company. We built what we call as the one platform for cloud security. In very basic words, Wiz helps technology companies to secure their cloud, secure their code, and also alert them for anything that's actually happening in real time from attackers. So we really believe in the full stack approach, meaning that if you want to secure your company, you need to first put Wiz or any other security product, starting from the code, right? To find vulnerabilities within the code, to have guardrails in the CI/CD, and also to, if we're moving like towards into more like shift right, then part of the cloud to have Wiz with our agentless approach to scan your cloud, to find misconfigurations, to find any vulnerabilities that are in any instances. And lastly is what we call the Wiz Defend, meaning when it's already too late, when there is already an attack is going on, then we detect in real time about threats and detections. And for those of you who are Wiz customers, and you go through the dashboard, you already know that everything that we have in Wiz is API first, meaning that every screen that you go, if you need to pull issues, you need to pull vulnerabilities, you need to pull detection, everything is accessible through the API. We have a very good developer documentation and API reference that allows our customers to build what we call integrations that pull data out of Wiz. They can also enrich data into Wiz. And this is pretty much the bread and butter of what we call the Wiz Integration Network. Okay? We have over 200 partners. And the integration network, it's basically a program that allows partners to sign up, to apply. And the end of it, they are building their full integration. And the idea here is to give really added values for the shared customers, because we see a lot of cases where customers go into Wiz, they see the risks in their cloud, but then they go to the other products that they're using. Maybe it's a data security product or a networks product. We have like various domains. They want to see the risk context or the security context also in that product, and also vice versa. So this is what Win is all about. Like I said, we have over 200 certified integrations coming from various of domains. I'll just share a little bit what it means to be a certified partner in Wiz and how you can become a certified Win partner. It's basically 7 steps. You apply, you qualify, you sign the NDA, we give you access to our developer portal, and then what we do is we try to time them into maximum time of 12 weeks that it takes to build an integration. Some are doing it much more quicker. Some it takes a little bit more time. After that, you go through the process of being certified. We approve you, hopefully, and then we do joint marketing. It's kind of like a win-win for both companies and also for the shared customers. And if I'll dive a little bit deeper into actually what it means, then we basically request from the partner himself to come with a really strong use case of the integration. I mean, it has to be something that the shared customer really wants to see. After that, we're doing the validation, and we give them access to both our, like I said before, the API reference, the developer documentation. We also add them to our, we have over 1,000 of developers in our developer community where they can just ask questions. And then they're starting to build. They're doing a lot of iterations. And like I said, we target the whole process into 12 weeks. And then we go through the process of certification, when from the partner side, it means that they're sending us which APIs they're actually using. And if I haven't said it before, and if it's not that clear, then all of our API is Apollo GraphQL. We have a giant supergraph that serves both our customers and partners. So they send us the different queries that they're actually using. We make sure that it's scalable. We go through a security review. We make sure that everything is fit in terms of the integration itself. And I'll explain later why I'm saying all of that. Because all of this process is very, I find it like very manual, very kind of like old, especially when we think about developers today, that they are using AI agents. They're using AI agents as part of their IDEs. Going through all this process manually is something that we really wanted to change. And there go a word that none of you probably heard before, MCP, right? Kind of like the buzzwords today. So just for those of you who really never heard what is MCP, I'll just explain it very briefly, that an MCP is a thin layer on top of your API. It basically allows AI agents to communicate with different services. Meaning if I have, for example, ChatGPT, and I wanted to send a message over Slack, Slack needs to build an MCP. In order, if I want to ask questions about the Wiz tenant, we need to build the Wiz MCP. And also Apollo built their own MCP, which I'll show you in a bit how we actually been using it. So we wanted to be as close as we can to the developers themselves, meaning that we needed to come with our own MCP that they can actually use while they are building. And so we launched the Wiz MCP that gives access to all of the Wiz platform, meaning you can fetch issues, fetch vulnerabilities, all of that using your AI agent. And lastly, what we added is what we call the Win tool. So I explained before about the Wiz Integration Network. Then the Win tool itself is basically gives you access to the entire Win API reference, meaning all our scalable approved GraphQL queries. It also holds integration guidelines. The way that MCP works is that in the description itself of the tools, this is the data that goes back into the LLM. So everything you put there is something that it knows which tool to actually invoke and what to do with that. So everything in terms of the description that we added there, we added a lot of certification guidelines. We took the most common, frequently asked questions that we saw. So everything is there as part of the tool description. And we have over 40 APIs that we exposed. And this means that when a partner now uses this tool with his IDE, he can basically ask a question or write a prompt of, help me build an integration from Wiz that pulls the issues. So if he needed to do that, like I said, like the other way, he would go to the documentation, he would go to the API reference, he would have to do all that manually, and now everything is being served to him, and the AI agent doesn't need to hallucinate what Win is or how to, like, which APIs exist. The Win API tool actually gives it the raw GraphQL queries that are approved for usage. Now, what we saw as the missing piece of that flow is that the AI agent knows how to build the integration. He has a lot of information about how to do the authentication with Wiz, but the missing piece is actually the payload that is being returned. So when we saw that Apollo MCP is launched in preview, this is where we thought this will be a really great opportunity to kind of like close the loop and have the full picture of using Apollo MCP also as part of that flow, meaning that not only to build the integration and have the code that builds it, also while it builds it, it can use the Apollo MCP to to execute those queries, those Win API queries, and then it gets the payload. Now, what it actually allows it is that it can understand which payload is being returned, and that can really complete the full picture of building the integration because it knows what field to actually pull. And I've been talking too much, so I'm just going to jump into a demo, and we're going to do it live and just show you how easy it is to actually do it. I hope. OK. So I like to do some sanity checks because it's a live demo. So I asked it if it's online. Let me also ask it, do you see any MCPs, the Wiz MCP and Apollo MCP? Which tools do you see? Amazing. So it sees both the Wiz MCP that has only the Win API enabled, and it sees Apollo MCP that has only 2 tools. And Apollo MCP can do a lot more things than that, and hopefully I will touch that later. But we're only using the 2 main tools that it has, which is execute and introspect, which are basically the only thing it needs to build integration. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to ask it to build, hey, help me build an integration with Wiz that pulls issues and shows it in a table. Let's say pull the top 5 issues. So it takes a bit time, but hopefully it's going to be fast. And I'll just try to talk while it does it. So what it does, it's like you can see, it's pulling the Win API specification for get issues. It's going to test the query with Apollo MCP to see the response structure. It's creating a Python script for authentication and data fetching, which all the data about, all the information about how to pull data out of the Wiz API, how to do authentication, everything is written within the tool descriptions. And Cursor likes to do a lot of fancy things like putting it in like in a dedicated environment with all the requirements. So we're going to use that. And let's see if it actually succeeded. The thing about like doing a demo with AI agent and with MCP is that like things just work, and it works too fast that it doesn't seem that it's like it doesn't make sense that it works so well. So I'm gonna have to really run it to see that I'm not just talking. Just gonna clear here. Let's see that I'm in the right folder. OK. So I already have in .env the re-credential to our test environment that I put before. Let's see. OK, so this is great. It didn't work. It worked the last 8 times that I did it before when I was planning. 1 second. So what we're going to do, we're just going to tell it to, I just want to say I don't want to write any code. You do it. You have an error. Fix it. I am in a live demo. OK? Maybe I was jumping the gun a little bit about it, but honestly, I did it 8 times since yesterday, and it was really amazed me how it worked. Yeah, so the issue is like something very small within Python, but I'm also too excited to check the code myself. Let's see what it actually did. So we have, let's see if it succeeded. Awesome. See, it works. Woo! OK. Now, this is very simple, right? It's only pulling issues. The thing that we do within Win is that not only that we let the partners build the integration, we really enforce that it's going to be scalable and secured. So all of that description is also written within the tools. This means that it's going to save a lot of back and forth of our developers. Okay? Now, of our team and the developer team from the partner side is going to save a lot of time. And the reason I'm emphasizing about that is that I honestly believe this is not just a Wiz solution. This is the approach we took. It's really great. I'm pretty sure a lot of you here in the crowd have building integrations to other products, right? You have also API reference that you expose. You have, or you are building integration to with other products as well. I think the beauty here is that you can just take this pattern that we invented and use it for yourself. All you need to do is to build an MCP that's going to take the API reference, the real API reference, and serve it. And all you need to do is also combine it together with the Apollo MCP, which you saw is just out of the box. I haven't written any code to the Apollo MCP repository. Nothing. It's just working out of the box of pulling the API reference, having all the instructions that we as a company want our partners to understand how to build an integration, and then it does it all together. I'm going to try to do maybe something. I mean, we can just, so the fact that it's running as part of my IDE, this means that so now we just ran it as a blank example, right? But think about that the developers of the partners can go to their actual repositories where the services that are actually pushing data to their databases or whatever, they want to have like, they want to add the Wiz integration into their UI, right? They want to have like the full flow. So they can just go to their repository and start to work with that, to have the integrations built dedicated to how their services actually looks like. The thing is that they don't need to go back and forth and actually read the documentation anymore, which is pretty cool. We can make it even more advanced if anyone here has any ideas. But because Cursor itself has access to the browser, so I'm just going to ask him. My customer said this integration is not enough. Check all the available Win APIs and also go online to see what's the critical, what's the most requested features for security platforms. Write minimal code and rebuild this integration. Make it super minimal. Again, I am in a live demo, okay? Now, what I wanted to do, I wanted to go through all the 41 APIs that we have and try to figure out what makes sense to improve this integration. So it's probably not going to go through all of them. But now he's already checking the vulnerability findings, the configuration finding, our inventory. There's a lot of like different ways this integration can actually go. And then it's going to start to build it. I really want to be mindful of our time. But I think we have enough time to also have this, to finish this. So let's see what he's trying to do. He's now searching online for what I told him. He thinks the year is 2024 for some reason. But maybe it's the cutoff date, but probably not. And let's give it a few more seconds. And while it does that, I think I can jump into, OK, it actually finished. OK, so now it's building what he called a security dashboard. And let's see if that's, but it actually did here. OK, let me create a super minimal security dashboard that covers the top 3 most requested features: vulnerability management, configuration compliance, and asset inventory. What I did before was way simpler, and it failed, right, when I ran it. So let's see if he improved. This is exactly what security teams need. The integrations I work in, perfect for your demo. OK, let's see if he's not just talk. So we had security dashboard, right? Yeah, it doesn't work. So while he's trying to fix it, I'm just going to jump into the rest of my presentation. I'm just going to have to talk to him nicer, sorry. I'm going to create a bulletproof. OK. I'm just too eager to see if it actually is actually working. So that's why I'm not jumping to the rest of the presentation. Let's see if it's, what did he do? He created a file called live demo? OK. I confused them with live demo. So it's my fault. But let's give it a single try. OK. So I will jump to the rest of the presentation. But hopefully that doesn't leave like a little sour taste. But what I'm trying to show here is like it's very easy. First of all, what I'm trying to show is that AI agents, they do what we tell them. If I'm talking about live demo to try to make you laugh, he takes it seriously and builds a Python script that doesn't make sense. But also, it really shows that we have to fine-tune it, and it really emphasizes on why having an MCP tool with real data, real valid data, really empowers AI agents. Because if we're just going to let them pretty much try to figure out what we wanted, then it's probably not going to go through a right path. When you put it with a validated tools that takes the actual API reference from your backend, then it has a lot of validated data that it can actually work with and build a really good integration. So we're real thrilled to see that, and we're going to jump back to see what it actually did before. And I'm just going to double down on what I just said. So we see that a lot of developers, also I'm not just talking about partners developers, I'm talking about our customers developers. How many of you here are engineers, developers? Raise of hand. OK. How many of you, if you can keep your hand for a second, how many of you are also using AI agents in your IDE? People who are not developers also raise their hands. And how many of you are really confident that the code that the AI agent built for you is secured? This is amazing. OK, really proves my point. Now, we know that. In Wiz, we know that. And there's two ways for it, right? We can tell our customers, hey, let's drop AI agents. Let's your developers not use that. And then we're going to probably run out of business. But the approach that we're taking, and there was also a great talk with Ami Ludwig, our CTO, to TechCrunch just a week ago, really talking about that we have to, in order to empower our customers and our developers, we have to run side by side with the developers. Meaning, if the developer is vibe coding, we're going to have to introduce a guardrail. We're going to call it like vibe security. We're going to have like a validated tool that it runs that the AI agents can actually use and validate that the code is secured. And we already do that with the Wiz MCP. And this is why we are taking the approach of fighting AI with AI, because the attackers are using AI, the developers are using AI, everyone is using AI in order to really have a successful, if you really want your production environment to be secured and successful, you also have to introduce security within that AI. So I'm just going to show now how we already did that in Wiz. And I'm just going to take a small example. And I hope you guys, all going to see, because it's the dark theme. So with the cursor, I changed it before, but now. OK, I think you can see it. And I'm also going to, while I talk, I'm just going to also speed it up a bit. OK, so I like to do the sanity check. So this is just a sanity check for Gemini Code Assist to see if it sees my MCP. What I asked it to do is that this code was also written with vibe coding. I told it to look in other service that we have, a compute service, and build something on our own. And what it created is that it created a Terraform. And if you're going to look at this Terraform, even the most security researchers here, it's really hard to identify the security issue here. And also, when the AI agents created this file, it took like the name from what we already had in our repository. But it's really hard to identify a security issue here. And what I asked it is I have the Wiz MCP connected to our test tenant. And what I asked it is to go over this Terraform. And I think we can see the question here. Yeah. Check this specific GCP infrastructure using the Wiz Issues tool. Is it safe for production? If not, please show me exactly what's wrong and how bad the issue is. This means is that not only that we can now jump from the code back to Wiz to see if this Terraform is already deployed in other instances that we have in production. We can see the risk score, and we can even identify if there is an issue. And I'm just going to let it to continue run. Sorry. So not only that we are able to check all of that risk and see that, we can also bring it back and remediate within the code. Okay? And this is something like it's a real game changer into how developers can write code securely. So all of you that didn't raise your hand, I really advise to try to find, if you have Wiz, then you can use the Wiz MCP. But if not, then try to figure out a way how you can introduce more security guardrails within your agent itself. So it found a few things. It scanned Wiz to see if there's any issue. It already found there's a high severity issue, and it's also a low severity issue. And it now suggesting me to actually fix it. And because everything has been vibe coding, I also I'm now asking to remediate it. And now it's going to do the full remediation. OK, I'm speeding it up a bit. OK, so what it did, I think I have a laser. OK, so what it did, you see this is an IAC of Terraform, and you can see the name here. So it used that name. It queried Wiz to see if that instance has any risks. It found that it has risks. And then, because of the risk itself, we also provide within the issue itself in Wiz also the remediation steps. So now it can get a validated remediation step. It doesn't need to hallucinate. It knows how to fix it. And what it fixed is that it added here the shield instance config. This piece of code was not in the original Terraform. And the fact it wasn't in the original Terraform, the default values were insecure. So it's really hard to see it in a glance. But it helped us really find this hidden security issue. It also found another low severity issue that it's going to fix. And I keep clicking and getting out of this. So I later on asked it to add comments. So also the team, because it's gonna push a pull request, right? We can also use the GitHub MCP to have a really full remediation or whatever you use. So it can actually fix this code. And this is really incredible for developers to now have a tool that can actually also help them vibe secure their code. So this is, let's see. Yeah, so it already pushed here all the different remediation steps, and so other people can actually see it. And this is really incredible. Let's see if I think I'm gonna give up on here, but let's see if what file it actually. Okay, so, great. So now it changed the name to Wiz Security Dashboard. Let's see that it worked. How many of you believe it's gonna work? 50-50. That's a lot of hope. So it was very fast, and you might think it didn't work, but it worked. Okay. So what it did now, it really enhanced. So it's not only pulling issues, it's pulling the different rules. It has a kind of like bugs here, but in general, it pulls from different APIs within Wiz and created what it called a security dashboard. And we can even enhance it further and further. And it's really amazing to see, for me at least, how easy it is to build integration or to pull data. If you're a Wiz customer, you can just do that immediately, because a lot of customers are going to the documentation, try to figure out, then they are reaching out and saying, hey, we have this and this issue. Everything now can be staying within the IDE with validated data, not with AI agent hallucinating. So this is pretty amazing. If we're going to continue this path of developers and finding issues, how many of you heard of this threat called Shai Hulud in the last few weeks? It's a giant NPM supply chain attack that happened. When this happened, we were in the office, and the first thing, and this is like I'm being completely honest, the first thing we did, we tried to figure out, is our customers secured? How can we alert them to do that? And the thing is that within Wiz, we have what we call the Threat Intel Center. All the latest threats already there. We have an amazing research team that already delivered this blog about what is this swarm, what type of packages are actually impacted, how to remediate, how to know if you're actually being actually impacted by this. But it wasn't enough, because even as a Wiz customer, you would go to the threat intel and you would see it. But there's also a lot of people who do not have, like, also you need to scan your environment, because we give you the tools to scan it, but you need to scan it. We alert you on issues. But we actually wanted to even make it much more easier for anyone or any executive, for example, in the company, to understand whether he was impacted or not. And obviously, the way to do that is with MCP, because we can just add that. But we didn't have the threat intel and the SBOM that gives you the packages. We didn't have those tools as part of the MCP. Luckily, when we built the Wiz MCP, we understood that there's going to be a lot of times we're going to add new tools. So we really decoupled the layer of the Wiz MCP logic within the tools. So it's very easy. It's just like a YAML configuration that you just add. You put the query, the API query, you put about description, you push it, and it's another tool. This is very similar to what Apollo MCP is now actually doing. And it's very easy I've been trying that in the last few days. It's very easy to add new tools into the Apollo MCP as well, once you just give it the query. So I really also encourage you to try that out. So we added the threat intel and the SBOM tools. And this means that from any AI agents that you use within the Wiz MCP, you can just ask whether are you impacted by this swarm or not, because it can go to the threat intel, get the latest details about this attack, and also use our SBOM tool to scan the packages within all of your instances and give you a real clear answer whether you're exposed or not. I'm just going to show how it looks like. So I recorded this demo, and it's a real demo that I recorded. We only added a Slack notification, so it's going to be a bit more shiny on social. So this is exactly what you're going to see now. So let's watch it. So it's moving. Sorry, I'm horrible at this. It's moving really fast. I just want to show. So in single prompt, right? Latest NPM supply chain attack. Can you check if we're affected using Wiz or not? What it did, it went online. It tried to figure out what latest NPM supply chain attack. Ironically, it also found the blog that we posted like an hour before, which is really great. That has all the information. But and from that, it actually used tried to scan it. So it started to call. Sorry. You see that I'm trying. So it's calling different tools that we recently just added, the threat advisory, the threat center. It gets all the information out of Wiz. And this is why I said it's really important to plug in AI with real services, like not sure how many of you heard, also ChatGPT just announced they have these apps. It's amazing. I feel that like once you plug in real services with real data, this can really empower everything. So this is why we continually adding more and more tools into the Wiz MCP. So in one prompt, an executive can scan his entire environment, all the instances that it has, and see if they're affected or not. Later in the, oh my God. I hope this all recorded. Okay, so later what it does is that because we have LLM, then it can also create a real executive briefing document with all the data that we have. This is what it does well, but it needs to have validated like real data, and it cannot hallucinate. This is why it's very important to plug it into the real things. So this is about that, and I'm gonna finish with saying what's next. So we jumped a lot now to the Wiz MCP and the tools that you can use to pull issues and all of that. But we started with the Wiz Integration Network for our partners. So what is actually next? So the Win API tool now exists as part of the Wiz MCP, which means that our customers can use it to build integration. But we are going to make like this is why this whole talk is about reimagining how we build integration, because we do plan to release in the next few weeks what we call the Win MCP, which is going to have the Win API tool. Also going to have another API that we have internally that allows you to ask questions and search the developer documentation in the natural language. So we're going to plug it in as well, so the AI agents can ask our AI questions into how to pull all the developer documentation that we have. We're going to add best practices and certification guidelines. And we're also going to add a certification tool. So all the process of doing certification also going to happen within the IDE. It's going to scan all the code, see that it's scalable, see that it's secured. Obviously, we're going to need to add more guardrails to see that it actually returns real data. And once that is actually added, we really hope this really going to enhance the way integration partners are building integrations today within Wiz. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. So thank you all. And I'm going to jump to questions now.
All right. Thank you, Hen. We've got time for a few questions. If you'll just raise your hand, we'll bring the mic to you and get your questions answered.
Hi, thank you. How do you ensure your partners don't have visibility to your full massive supergraph schema? Do you use Apollo's contracts feature and deploy separate instances or something else?
No, so the honest answer is that they do. They can introspect the API, but we have a lot of guardrails in terms of permission scope, so they can't really execute that. We also don't put any IP data within the introspect data itself. So we have one supergraph. This is like a really, like I said, weak point, and the reason why we need like a very strict API reference that's going to be a subset that is a subset of our APIs that are publicly accessible. So ideally, they can, like I said, they can introspect it and see different queries, but they cannot even execute them because they don't have the permissions.
Hi, I like quite a novel idea with vibe security, but are you not concerned at all about data poisoning? Because obviously these LLMs are trained on the whole internet. If I or some bad actor somehow published 1 million websites that said remote code exploitations don't exist, whatever, right? And then that's going to be filtered into the LLM's knowledge base. And then if you're doing your vibe security, Wiz is going to say, hey, this is a RCE. And then the LLM is going to think, no, RCEs don't exist because it's trained on all this bad data.
Yeah. So this is a global problem, right? And this is why it's really, really important that the LLM won't go into his database, the data it was trained on, in order to answer these questions. This is why, when I explained in the beginning, is that MCP itself, when you're served into AI agents, everything that you put within the description, the LLM reads it and takes it seriously. It's also another attack vector that we can talk about later. But the idea here is that everything security related, we're going to ask it to ask the security MCP, not have to go to whatever it's trained on because of these issues exactly.
I have a question. Thanks for the presentation. I'm here. So I'm just curious, what's the impact of this feature? Like initially showed it's around 12 weeks for your partner to onboard. Like, did you measure any breakdown with that?
What was the question again?
So what's the impact of this feature? Initially you showed 12 weeks for a partner to onboard.
Yeah.
But like.
So the talk says we are reimagining. So this haven't even been yet served with partners. It's only served for our customers. We get a lot of feedback from them, like a really good feedback on how they use it. And we are planning to roll it out to design partners already next week. But we do expect it's going to be a complete game changer because they don't need to go to the documentation. They don't need to go back and forth in the Slack community. There's a lot of repeated questions within the Slack community. In the beginning, it was very nice for us because we were like growing and growing and growing. But now we have over 1,000 developers there, and we want them to ask more interesting questions than the thing that they can actually receive within that MCP. So about that stat, I will post, and once we're gonna have that information.
Sure, thanks. One more question. So
Sure.
how are you baking in the tracing in this workflow? Like how would you ensure this particular user's question ended up in these series of tool operations? Like, is there any process?
Yeah, so we do have telemetry data that you can opt in or opt out. So we later, obviously everything is obfuscated, but we use that to ensure that whatever it asked was served, and the way to solve it is by doing fine-tuning the description. So every time we see like something being a bit different or not we expected, we are changing the description, doing a lot of tests, and then it's very easy for us to push it also back in because of the remote MCP.
Thank you.
Okay, so probably you already answered my question, but if you have 40 plus tools and you can easily add new tools, how you can ensure that they don't conflict with each other, and the AI agent will call a right tool?
Yeah, so the Win API tool is a single tool that serves all the API reference that we have. We have over 40
API references. How AI agent will choose right API?
Yeah, so every tool, in Wiz, they're completely different. So everyone has a different purpose, a different product purpose. So the way to ensure is like I said before, is like to have a very clear description of what this API is supposed to do. We also have different use cases. So if you're a data security company, you need to pull data findings, you need to pull the inventory. It's very clear in the description what tools to use and when.
Thank you. And another question. For the web security, if you will change AI agent from Gemini to another, will it find more securities, and how you will verify that you found all issues with your code?
Sorry, what's the question?
So if you will change AI agent from Gemini to any other LM, will it find more issues, security issues?
No, so the issues are being pulled directly from Wiz. It doesn't matter what version the AI agent, what it does. This is why I said it's really important once you use AI agents is to put them with tools that are real companies, real SaaS companies, because the data is always going to return the same. If you're going to query the issues API within Wiz, even if you're just going to query it with credentials, you're going to get the same data all different AI agents get. The way they interpret it is different based on the model. Thank you.